Yo, what's up, everybody? This your boy X, and I'm coming to y'all from PressPlayOnYourDestiny.com. And today, this video is going to be a little different, okay? I'm going to actually tell you guys a story. Yes, another story. You guys know I love telling stories. But this story is actually a true story. This is something that actually happened to me about 2 years ago. Something that shaped and molded me into the person that I am today. The person that's flooding your Facebook timeline. The person that's putting out YouTube videos to inspire and motivate. The person that's going around the city to speak and captivate audiences with my story. This truly helped mold me into the person that I am today. This experience, rather. And we all go through experiences in our lives that shape us and mold us, that changes our perspective on life, that makes us different people. And while there's a lot to this story, I'm just going to kind of give you guys the most relevant parts of the story, okay? Anywho, the story starts in Miami. Me and my wife at the time, we are in Miami going to pick our kids up because our kids were visiting their grandparents at the time. And normally during the summer, we would let the kids go down to Miami to visit their grandparents. So this time in particular, we were homeless this time. We didn't have a place to stay, so we were told that we could come to Miami and get a fresh start, and we would have our kids too. Now, while that sounded like a great idea, my wife was just kind of like, I don't know if I want to stay here with your parents. You know, maybe we can try to make it somewhere else. Now, mind you, we were struggling, and we were struggling bad. And for those of you that know what it's like to really struggle when it just seems like you're on this roller coaster, you're doing good, then you're not, but it seems like you're doing bad more than you're doing good. That was the position that we were in at the time. So my wife's twin sister found a condo in San Diego, California. Now, my wife, she loved to jump on opportunities, so she said, well, why don't we move to San Diego? Maybe we can get a better start there. Maybe, you know, we can make it more successful in a whole other state and city. Now, me, I was like, I don't, you know, I didn't want to get out of what I knew. And that's a lot of us. Our comfort zone. I was over my parents' house. I knew that they would help us take care of the kids. I would have a place to stay. But if I go to California, I don't know anybody there. So I'm literally going to have to grow up. That's what I learned when I got to California. But mind you, we're in Miami. So she says, you know what, Trey, I think I'm going to go, me and the kids are going to go with my sister to California, and we're going to try to help her get settled in and help her, you know, get everything together for her house. And the agreement that we made was whoever makes it first, that's who would move with the other person. So if she made it in Cali, I would move to California. If I made it in Miami, she and the kids would move back to Miami. Now, it sounded like a good idea at the time because I'm just like, okay, that gives me some time to work. That gives her some time to work. She has some support there. I have some support here. And everything's going to be good. Well, that's not how it turned out. What actually ended up happening was I felt bad about them leaving, and I felt bad about not going with them. I didn't leave with them initially because I was afraid of the unknown. I was afraid of what would actually happen if I went there and everything just, nothing worked. Everything just fell apart, you know, and I ended up being homeless. And the worst thing that I wanted to do was live in a homeless shelter with my family or to live on the streets. I could not fathom that happening to me or my family. Well, fast forward a little bit. My wife and kids are in California. They're in San Diego. I'm still in Miami. But I'm a little unsettled in my spirit and in my heart and in my mind and in my soul. I'm just like, I should be there, but I'm afraid to go. I know I should go because I'm like, right, there's nothing going for me here either. I'm living from place to place. I don't have a job. I don't have anything going for myself. So why am I so afraid of the unknown? And that's a lot of our issues, you guys. So, ironically, that day I got a call from one of my good friends. And we started talking about life, and he said, man, I'm changing my life around. I'm starting to listen to these motivational speakers and empowerment coaches, and they are changing my life. So I told myself, you know what, I am going to start listening to some motivational speakers. I need to change my life around. I need to change my spirit. I need to change everything about me. I need to have a better life, because right now my life is shit. That's what it is. And have you ever been in a position in your life where you were like, something needs to change, something has to change? So what I did, literally, from when I woke up to when I went to sleep, I did nothing but listen to Eric Thomas, Tony Robbins, Les Brown, Brian Tracy, T. Harv Eker. I mean, on a 24-hour basis, all I was doing was feeding my spirit these things that uplifted me, these motivational messages. I was getting up in the morning, I was running, I was more into my health. Spiritually, I felt like I was getting a better relationship with God. Now, mind you, all of this happened in the time frame of about a week and a half. I tell anybody, it doesn't take a long time to change your life around. Your life changes the moment you choose for it to. And then after that, you're working on it. So, I'm getting pumped up. I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to be afraid to go. I'm going to go to California. I'm going to start my life. And me and my family, we're going to be okay. So I got the nerves to call one of my uncles. I said, look, I don't have any money, but I have some job interviews, because at the time I was applying for jobs in California. I was like, okay, I'm going to apply for some jobs, so when I get there, I already have a job. I had 10 job interviews set up waiting for me. I called my uncle. I said, look, I have to get a ticket to California. I have a job interview in 2 days, and I need to get there. And my uncle, mind you, I hadn't talked to this particular uncle in years, but because he understood my story, because he knew where I was coming from, because he knew that I wanted to change my life, he said, nephew, it sounds like you need to be leaving like right now. He paid for my ticket right then. And you want to know what's funny, you guys? I said to myself, I didn't know how I was going to get to California. I didn't have the money. I didn't have the resources, nothing. I didn't know. But when I made the mental shift that I was going to get there by any means necessary, it fell in my lap. My opportunity to get there fell in my lap. My uncle paid for my ticket the exact same day. I'm telling you, the power of a made-up mind is deep. The power of a made-up mind. Sometimes all you have to do is make up your mind and say, I don't know how, I don't know when, I don't know why, but set your mind on something and know that it's going to happen for you. And 9 times out of 10, it will. The universe will start moving things around. Situations and circumstances will move it around just so you can see that what you wanted can come to pass if you just put your mind and all of your energy into it. So, my dad is like, I was pretty much known to make all the bad decisions. I'm the oldest son, and it just seemed like I cannot get my life right. So my dad is like, oh my gosh, you're going to California right now? Completely just. My dad didn't know how to take it. I've always been making bad decisions. So the fact that I'm going to California, I don't have any money, I don't have a job, I don't have a place to stay. I'm just going to go to this unknown state and try to make it. How the hell are you going to do that? So I told my dad I got a bus ticket and I'm leaving. Now, when I told him I was going to California, he was okay with that. When I told him that I was going today, he was like, wait, whoa, you're leaving now? Have you thought this out? Don't you think this is a bad decision? I said no, but I feel like it's time for me I feel like I need to be with my family, and I need to make it with my family. So reluctantly, I got in my dad's car and he drove me to the station, talking the whole time about how bad of an idea it was. But I knew in my mind that once I got on that bus and that bus left Miami and was en route to California, there was no turning back, baby. No turning back. So I get there. I had $3 in my pocket. That's it. Now my trip to San Diego was a 3-day trip. My trip was 3 days on the bus, and I had $3. But I said, you know what, God, you motivated me to go, so I know that you'll help me. So my dad went to the ATM, took some money out and gave it to me. He said, you don't have anything. This is ridiculous. I cannot believe you're doing this. Well, I got on the bus and it left. My dad gave me a hug, and I knew then I was on the way. My money only lasted for about a day and a half. So when I got to California, I was completely broke. I didn't have anything in my pockets when I got to California off of this 3-day trip. So I get to California finally. I call my wife. I tell her, look, I'm in California. Now she didn't believe that I was coming. That's how much I was like, I'm not coming. I'm not doing it. I was very adamant about not coming. But God will do some strange things in you when God is trying to get you to do something. And the whole time on my way to California, God is writing through me. God is telling me what to do when I get there. What people I need to be. I had a mission and a plan before I got to California. Now, I get there. My wife mind you, my wife at the time was very sporadic. She's one of those people who she can leave on a drop of a dime and make it and go somewhere else and make it in a whole nother city, a whole nother state, and not have anything. She's just one of them free spirits. So I get there, and God is telling me, oh yeah, it's gonna be a little hard, but it's gonna be okay. You can make it. So I'm sitting here like, okay, I'm thinking at least when I get there, she's gonna have everything together. You want to know what happens when I get to California? I get off the bus. Now, I've never been to California before. So I get off the bus. She meets me at the bus stop. I give her a hug. She's like, I can't believe you came. I'm like, I can't believe I came either. So the first thing I say to her is, so where is the hotel? Because I'm thinking they're in a hotel. So she's like, well, they had got a voucher from a nonprofit organization that housed them in a hotel. But the trick to that was, because I waited too late to get on the voucher, I couldn't stay where they were because her and her sister were already on the voucher. Because her sister had to wait to move into her place, so they had to basically stay in a hotel for a while. So as soon as I get on the bus, I brought my unborn baby some stuff, and everything. I had like 2 suitcases, a tote bag, a little bag for something for my baby. And as my adventure in California started, as soon as my feet hit the ground at the bus terminal, as soon as my feet hit the ground, that's when my adventure started. We didn't have a car. We didn't have a place to stay. Nothing. She said, well, I have a check. I got to cash it. But that's all I know from this point. So what we have to do is we have to go to the bank. Mind you, we didn't know how to get around the city. We didn't know how the buses ran. So we were walking around California, the downtown of California, for 45 minutes trying to find a Bank of America. Just walking. My feet were hurting. I literally had to get rid of some of the stuff I bought because we were walking so much. Finally found something. Found a hotel. Priceline and Hotwire were our best friends. Finally found a hotel, cashed the check. I'm like, dang, God. I'm thinking, okay, it's going to be a little minute before it starts. No, as soon as I got there started my adventure to whatever the hell I had to do. I'm going to pause and fast forward the story some. So, I'm like, all right, I need a place to stay, okay? And I was staying from hotel to hotel. I had family helping me, sending me money so I could pay for a hotel. So my wife and I try to go to the nonprofit that helped them get into the hotel. It's a Friday night. And the lady, and we're there. It's not Friday night. It's more like Friday evening, almost like from afternoon to evening. I'll say probably about 5 o'clock or 4:30. And so we go, and she's like, okay, this is what we had to do. My wife is telling me now. She's like, this is what we had to do to get the assistance. So we go to the nonprofit, and I'm like, she's like, hey, here's my husband. My husband is here, and can he get on our hotel voucher with us? The lady basically tells her, well, your sister is already on the voucher, and you guys still have about a week left on your voucher. And unfortunately, your husband can't be on the voucher because only 2 adults can be on the voucher at one time. And she was like, we can't redo the paperwork because once you're approved, the people on the voucher are the ones that are approved to be in the room. So mind you, certain hotels have programs with these nonprofits where the nonprofit will pay for you to stay in a hotel. But the trick is this: only the people on the voucher can stay in the room. Now, some people would say, bump that, I'll just sneak in there. There are cameras on every hallway. The people, because see, these are a special group of people. So in that hallway, let's just say the nonprofit rented out one whole hallway of rooms, there are cameras and security there. So if you were to try to sneak into the room and you're caught on camera, there was a great possibility that your whole family's voucher could be terminated. And I wasn't going to have that. So the lady tells my wife, she says, well, he's a big guy. Maybe he can find a shelter or something, to stay in. And, he should be okay. And basically she told me I would have to fend for myself. It was too late to get into a shelter. It was after 5. And if you've ever stayed in a homeless shelter, you know that you have to be, it's first come, first served, baby. And if you're not in that line early, you won't have a place to sleep. I said, well, what am I supposed to do? All the shelters are closed. Basically, the lady told us there's nothing else she could do, and we had to leave because they were closing. Looked at my wife, I said, what am I gonna do? I don't have anywhere to stay. So we're gonna talk about this on the way to their hotel. Get to their hotel, and she looks at me and she's just like, she gave me some money because her and her sister had some money. Now this is the ironic part of this part of the story. I had enough money to get a hotel room for that night. But it seemed to be that all of the hotels were sold out. All of the rooms were sold out. So we get to her hotel. It's already late. It's like 10 o'clock. She's pregnant, mind you. She's like 8 months pregnant. So she can't, she has to sit down. And she's like, Trey, I'm sorry you have to go through this. But, me and the kids need somewhere to stay. And at first, I was angry. I'm like, you're not going to try to sneak me into this room? You're going to just let me sleep outside? And she basically goes, she goes into her room and she's like, Trey, you're a man. You are a man and you can do this. So she gives me a little bit of food that they have in the room. And I'm outside. It's 10 o'clock and I'm just walking. I'm walking up and down the streets. Now I have 3 things. I have my book bag, I have a cell phone, and I have my laptop. So I'm calling my wife. I'm just like, I need somewhere to stay. Can you guys just let me in the room? I mean, they won't see me. I'll sneak up there. She's like, Trey, we can't. And then I was very upset because I thought that she would break the law for me. I thought that maybe because I was her husband, she would try to cheat the system. But by her cheating the system would jeopardize my whole family's living situation in a place that we didn't know. So I'm walking up and down the streets. I'm like, okay, where am I going to go? So I walk to a restaurant, they're closed. Walk to another restaurant, I sit in there for about 30 minutes, but they closed. It's about 11:30, almost 12 o'clock. Now everything on my block is closed. Everything is closed. So I tell myself, you know what, Trey? I'm going to try to make the best out of this night. And found some apartments close by, and there was a little area that it looked like nobody, there was no traffic in that area. So I said, okay, well, I'll just use my bag as my pillow, and I have my cell phone and my laptop. There's some Wi-Fi, and I'll be okay right here. So I called myself trying to lay down, and of course, it was like a little brick wall right here, so it was cool. So nobody from the streets could see me back here. But the only downfall about it was, since there was an apartment, there was doors right next to where I was at, so anybody at any time could walk through that door and see me sleeping on the side of that building. So I'm laying down, but I realized there's just too much traffic. People are just coming in and out, and I did not want to look like I was homeless or I was just sleeping on the side of the building. So the hotel that my wife and her sister and the kids are at, it's right across the street. Like literally, I could walk 5 or 10 steps and be at the hotel. Because I wanted to stay close, so when in the morning, I could be right there. Because you can visit in the morning, you just can't sleep at night. So I said, you know what? I'm going to sleep on the side of the hotel. There was a lot of homeless people already sleeping there on the side of the hotel. So I take all my stuff and I sit on the side of the hotel, but now the police are moving around. Now, mind you, if you're sleeping outside on the ground and the police catch you, you can get put in jail for that. Okay? And I didn't want to have those issues. So what I did was I got all my stuff and I went into the hotel. Now, you know how a lot of hotels have the corridors, right? And the little steps that go, and so what I did was I went into the hotel corridor where the stairs were, and I sat all my stuff down and I opened my laptop. I started listening to Les Brown and Eric Thomas, but I'll tell you what got me through that night was Eric Thomas. People were walking in and out the corridor, so I'm trying to act like I'm not asleep, but I'm dead tired. I'm exhausted. We had been all around the city of San Diego trying to get help, trying to help me get into a hotel, trying to help my family find somewhere to stay. It was a long day, and anybody who's ever been to San Diego, that is a pretty big city. So I'm in the corridor and I'm asleep, trying to sleep. Somebody opens the door, I'm up acting like I'm on my computer, but in hindsight I'm actually asleep. So the whole night, all I could think was, God, why would you let this happen to me? Why would you let me come all the way here? And you knew the biggest thing, my biggest fear was coming here and being homeless and sleeping outside with nowhere to go. And when I got there, that is exactly what happened to me. So I don't believe I'd have made it through that night if I was not listening to my motivational and my positive messages. Because the whole night, all I listened to was Eric Thomas saying you have to want it as bad as you want to breathe. You have to, Les Brown saying you have greatness in you. You can make it. Pain is temporary. And listening to these messages, before I knew it, it was 6 o'clock in the morning. And I just fed myself these messages the whole night, asking God, I guess I had to go through this for a reason. I do. So I got up, got on the trolley, and I got on the trolley at about 6 o'clock, and I rode around the city, sleep, because I hadn't got any sleep the night before, because I was sleeping around the hotel. So finally, I rode around the trolley for about an hour, got off, and came back to the hotel. And that was the night that I had to sleep on the side of the hotel building. The night that I was actually homeless. I really got to feel what it was like to sleep outside with nowhere to go, nothing to eat, no pillows, no covers, no nothing, just you and the outside. Now, there's a lot more to this story. I even, our whole family even ended up living in a homeless shelter for a few months. You could imagine that my manhood was tested on a lot of different levels, many levels, when I was in California. I like to say that California was the place that helped me grow into the man that I am now. The experience wasn't all that bad, but that's when I started doing my motivational speaking, because I had something to motivate me. A lot of people didn't know while I was doing my life coaching and my speaking around the city that I was homeless, that I was sleeping on the side of buildings. But yet and still, I got up every day and I was coaching my clients. I was speaking to the city while I was sleeping outside. Well, you guys, I hope that story was able to motivate you and uplift you at least some. Life has its way of dealing with us, and when you open yourself to your purpose, that's when the process begins. That's when the pruning starts. That's when the molding and the shaping begins. So you guys, until the next time, I love you guys, and I'm out.